She actually had to fight them off most of the time. Courtney, Reggie, and Raymond were always making moves on her, and she had turned them down so many times they even had the nerve to ask her sister if she was gay. They all had a good laugh about that one. No, she wasn't gay, not by a long shot. She loved guys. It's just that she had her priorities, unlike her sister, who had no priorities at all. Where Vet didn't have a problem turning down an invite to a movie or giving out her number to just about anybody who asked, she hadn't found anybody that interesting yet. That is, not until Rife. She was very disturbed about the effect Rife was having on her. She couldn't get him out of her mind. As a matter of fact, she hadn't thought about too much else since she saw him this morning. But it was obvious her sister was interested in him, and Net usually ended up with whoever she had her eye on. But wait a minute, she thought. Why am I walking away? Who says she should always get the first choice? Just because I don't take out time with these guys doesn't mean I can't. Shoot, I'm human too. Who says she always has to get whatever she wants? I'm a good girl, and I've been good for a long time. I pray, I don't cheat, I obey my parents, I study. Sometimes I think I'm just too darn good. Is there such a thing as being too good? Well, if there is, then that's what I am, too good. That's what everybody expects me to be, good. That's the way everybody describes me, good. That's the way everybody thinks I'm going to turn out, good. Net ain't good. Chaz ain't good. Gel ain't good. Matt ain't good. And don't even think about the other boys. Well, enough is enough. I'm tired of being Miss Goody Two Shoes. I want to have some fun just like everybody else. And Rife is where I draw the line. Net is going to have to get over herself. I want Rife, and I'm going to get him no matter what I have to do. So watch out, world. Here comes Vet. With a determined look on her face, Vet turned around and walked back to her friends in the cafeteria. Ray was right in the middle of one of his pick on Chaz moments, but paused momentarily until she sat down in her seat without saying a word. Everybody looked at each other and then from Vet to Net. Net was studying her sister for any kind of a sign of what was going on in her head, but there was none. Vet refused to look at her sister, instead, focusing her attention on Ray. Go ahead, Ray. Don't let me interrupt you, she said cheerfully. A little too cheerful for Net's taste, but she kept silent. Ray continued his taunting of Chaz, picking on everything from her hair to her shoes, and everybody was in stitches. Chaz had no problem cracking back on Ray, and he made it quite easy because everything he wore drew attention instantaneously. Born in London and raised in Germany, Ray had what the girls call the sexiest accent, but his taste in clothes was another story. In the words of Chaz, Ray was a walking Benetton commercial and had to wear every color of the rainbow every time he got dressed. This was an everyday fight between Chaz and Ray, and everyone predicted they were practicing for marriage. This brought a laugh from everyone, and especially Ray, because in his heart there was only room for Vet. The first time Ray laid his eyes on Vet, he thought he was in heaven. It wasn't the fact that she had a smile that was brighter than the sun. It wasn't the fact that she smelled like fresh picked flowers. It wasn't the fact that she had a laugh that was so infectious that you had to join in with her even if nothing was funny. No, it had nothing to do with all those wonderful things. Vet was a beautiful girl, as was her twin sister and a lot of other girls in this school. But there was something Vet had that none of the other girls had. She had a certain specialness, a certain charisma, a certain grace. Ray remembered the first time he saw Vet. It was the second day of school, and he was still trying to figure out the maze that was the hallways of this huge new school. He was hesitant to ask anyone directions because of the responses he always got to his heavy accent. So there he was, looking at numbers over every door, looking for his fourth period class when suddenly he heard this angelic voice behind him asking if he needed some help. When he turned around, his heart almost stopped. There she was in a light blue tank top with skin tight jeans, blue and white sneakers, and a body that made you want to howl like a dog. Long blonde braids and green eyes, in a face with skin like cocoa butter, finished the package. But more than the superficial, she seemed to radiate goodness. There was a genuine concern that emanated from her that surpassed the giggly stares the other girls gave him. It turned out that they had shared 4 classes together, and although Ray tried to get her to go out with him on several occasions, she always kept their relationship on a platonic level. At first, the constant refusals to give her number to him or even call him made Ray jealous, thinking she was seeing someone else. But he soon realized that was just Vet. She would be friends with almost everyone, but her first priority was her studies, and he had to respect that. So he opted to hang out with the gang. That way he could be near his precious Vet without seeming like a lovesick puppy following her around all the time. The only thing that bothered Ray was that his feelings for Vet seemed to be growing. Because they all shared their academic successes and failures, they all knew about each other's accomplishments. Vet was destined for greatness, and they all knew it. They all knew she was shooting for a scholarship, and judging by her grades and relentless studying, she would most likely get it. Ray was so proud of her. It seemed his heart would bust with her every accomplishment, but he had to keep his feelings on the down low. He decided the best way to impress her was to improve his grades along with her accomplishments. He was secretly hoping she would see him in another light and give him a chance to win her heart if he was as smart as she was. So today, when she abruptly left the table, he was more disturbed than anyone at the table, even her sister. All kinds of thoughts were running through his mind. Vet wasn't the type to get upset over trivial things. And when things got too silly, she would usually just shrug it off and change the subject. But he did notice she left after Jill started talking about some new guy they had seen earlier.